Now that we possess this irrefutable mathematical proof that came from outer space, from the super intelligent creator, we can look back and at least smile at statements of even some of the leading creationists. Let me quote for you one of those leading creationists, Duane Gish. He said, "It is impossible to conceive an experiment that could disprove the possibility of creation. Creation thus does not fulfill the criteria of a scientific theory." End of quotation. So even the creationists gave up, thinking that there could never be anything to prove or disprove creation. But here we are, just like any other discovery, we find this mathematically coded message from the super intelligent creator. The first hint of the mathematical code was reported about 900 years ago by a Jewish rabbi, Rabbi Judah the Pious. And by the way, I'm talking here about unaltered, original, untranslated scripture. This is very important, very crucial, because there have been many distortions and changes, alterations, losses, additions to the scriptures. And we have to be extremely careful to know that we are dealing with original, unaltered, untranslated scriptures. Literally, the very same words that the Creator wrote down or sent to us. So, what Rabbi Judah found, let me quote for you. It is easier this way. The people, now this quotation is from a book called Studies in Jewish Mysticism. It was edited by Joseph Dan and Frank Talmadge. And here's what they said. The people, Jews, in France, made it a custom to add in the morning prayer the words, Ashrei Temimei Torek. Blessed are those who walk the righteous way. And our rabbi, the pious, of blessed memory, wrote that they were completely and utterly wrong. It is all gross falsehood, because there are only 19 times, now pay attention to these numbers, there are only 19 times that the holy name is mentioned in that portion of the morning prayer. And similarly, you find the word Elohim 19 times in the pericope of Ve'el Shemot. Similarly, you find that Israel is called sons 19 times. And there are many other examples. All these sets of 19 are intricately intertwined, and they contain many secrets and esoteric meanings. So this was the first hint of a mathematical composition in the message that came to us from the Creator, or some kind of a code. Now, you realize now that it is important to find original scripture, unchanged. And just like the evolutionists looking for fossils and skeletal remains, scientists have been looking the world over for original scriptures. You heard about the Red Sea Scrolls and all the finds in lots of, in the Middle East, in many places. All these are attempts. Some of them are failures and some of them are successes. So I set out to find an original scripture. And here is the result. In this whole world, there's only one scripture that was never altered. Not a single letter was changed in that scripture. And that scripture is the Quran. So what I did was, I got the Quran, an original copy, with the original Arabic, and I put it in the computer, and I decoded an intricate mathematical code that is clearly beyond human ability. So now we have physical proof using the ultimate in scientific evidence, mathematics. telling us that everything that happened, that there is a super intelligent creator, and in that message we see how we came into being, why we are here, where we are going, and many, many other answers to lots of our most urgent questions. Before I put the Quran in the computer, I noticed a unique phenomenon that you will never find in any other literary work. I noticed, for example, that chapter 2 of the Quran has, in the first verse, there are only 3 letters in the first verse. That's it. A-L-M. That is verse 1 of chapter 2. And these letters remained mysterious for 1400 years. Scholars and scientists of all kinds have been looking at these initials, A-L-M, and the other initials in Quran, trying to figure out what they mean. And they could not do it. The computer did it recently. And to give you an idea, if you count the letters A, L, and M in chapter 2 of Quran, you will find that the total is 9,899. And this number, 9,899, is a multiple of 19. Remember the work of Judah, Rabbi Judah the Pious? The number 19 turns out to be the common denominator in the older scripture and in the newer scripture. 19 is the common denominator in the Bible, the original, unaltered Bible, and also in the latest edition of the scripture, the Quran. And this is very important. Now there are 29 chapters in Quran covering half the Quran. The Quran has 114 chapters. Some of them are longer and some are shorter, but the 29 initial chapters constitute half the Quran. And this mathematical system goes from the very simple to the very complex. So it is suitable for people of all levels of education. For example, chapter 50 is entitled Q. That's it. Just one letter, Q. And it is initialed with the letter Q. The computer said that this chapter contains 57 Qs. When you count them, you can count them if you know the Arabic letters, and you'll find that the total is 57. 19 times 3. There is one other chapter in Quran that is initialed with the letter Q, and that is chapter 42, which happens to be more than twice as long as chapter 50 entitled Q. And when you count the letter Q in chapter 42, you'll find exactly the same number, 57. So the only 2 Q initialed chapters have the same number of Qs, 57 and 57. Chapter 68 is initialed with the letter N, as in Nancy, N. And you count the letters N in this chapter and you come up with 133, 19 times 7. And this goes on, and it gets more and more complex until you realize that this is not human fabrication, that this is way beyond human ability. For example, we have 7 chapters in Quran that we see initialed with the letters HM. 7 of them, about 1/10. They constitute about 1/10 of the whole book. And when you count the letters H, Ha, and M, Mim, in these 7 chapters, you come up with a total 2,147. And this is a multiple of 19. The common denominator throughout the scriptures. The coded message from the Creator to us. 2,147. Now if only one letter H or one letter M was lost or added in the last 1400 years, you will end up with 2,148, for example, and this is not a multiple of 19. The whole system collapses. Or 2,146, because mathematics is a pure science. It is the most sensitive scale, and if you lose one number, you don't have a multiple of 19.